Alright, and that was page 35, number 19 for the 2019 8th grade CODA audition. Very, very fun thing to work on. A lot of things to tackle, first and foremost. Yes, we're in 3/8. There's quite a few 16th and 32nd notes, but thankfully, slower tempo, so while the fast notes will be fast, they're not as crazy fast as they could be if this was presto or allegro or anything like that. So just make sure we're taking it nice, slow, and steady, and really just focusing on having great time and great rhythm on top of great sound. As you have in this one, as a couple of the other ones, you have quite a few sudden and large dynamic shifts. Again, we just want to make sure that we're making our best sounds possible. When you're practicing in the practice room, definitely start to push the boundary of what the loudest louds are with a good sound and the softest softs are with a good sound. You want to make sure when you get into the audition that you can show that you have a really wide dynamic spectrum with which you can play, okay? You'll notice we have quite a few different style and articulation markings. The most prevalent one happens to be the phrase marking or slur marking over the top of 16th and 32nd notes with staccato marking. So what that, how I would interpret that is just being nice and connected with just that little bit of lift in space between each note. Da 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 da, as opposed to da or su. We really want to make sure that we get nice, light, delicate articulation. Again, whether you choose to use a D or a T syllable, I would recommend a D articulation, but again, whatever your teachers and private instructors are encouraging you to do is what you should do. But I do prefer the D syllable simply because it is a little bit lighter to me, and I feel like I can get a more delicate articulation on that versus a T syllable. So we really want to make sure that those are nice and connected with just that light little bit of lift and space behind it. We don't want to stop our air. We want to make sure that continues moving. You'll also have the phrase marking with the accents. Again, same idea as opposed to, or same idea as what you have with the staccato notes. Same concept. We want to keep that air moving with a nice accented articulation. Firmness at the front, slight decay on the back side of the beat. From there, you'll notice we have a couple of grace notes throughout here. What my recommendation is with that, and again, if your teachers and or instructors say something different, by all means go with them. I like to add those in last. I want to make sure that I have the basic structure of rhythm, sound, and dynamic before I incorporate that. To me, grace notes are like the sprinkles on top of the icing on top of the cake. Yes, they're very, very important, but we want to make sure we understand the outline of what we're trying to play initially, and then we can add those in there. So my recommendation would be to leave those off as you're starting to learn this. Understand that they're there, be working on them and get an idea of what you want to do there, but wait until you can comfortably play all the passages on there before we start to add them. From there, obviously we want to ensure that we have just the most gorgeous tone through these swells. Again, it's very easy to get very thin with our sound as we get louder and softer. Trombones especially, there are times where that edge that we can get on the horn is beautiful and very, very tasteful. This would not be one of those moments. We want just the most purest, best sound as we go through. So especially as you have some of these large dynamic contrasts, suddenly loud to suddenly soft, make sure we're making our best sounds. Okay? And as always, thank you so much for watching and listening, and happy practicing.